Okay, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Japan versus the World, and we are still in a bit of a tight spot, to say the least. So, there's a lot of back and forth happening here along the border with our forces in Moscow and the US's forces, which are coming out of Berlin. And that proves to be quite problematic because they have a numbers and monetary output advantage pretty drastically. So we're going to need to find a way to kind of bounce back from this, and that's going to be an uphill battle for sure. But initially, what I think I'm going to do is we're going to get infantry. We just need infantry for manpower and sustainability. So we're going to get 8 infantry for here, 4 infantry for here, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 fighters. And I could get a third. That's very reasonable and could easily happen out of here. But you know what? I'm just going to do it. Why not? We'll bank that 3 because I don't have a need to produce another infantry, especially because I've got nowhere to put them over here and I don't want to ferry them across from anywhere. So that's where we're going to be for the time being. Alright, I think we're going to play a little bit more passively this round. So we're going to move 1 single infantry into Ukraine SSR to gain some IPC back from there, knowing full well that we're going to lose that to either forces here from Bulgaria or forces that double back from West Russia. But in order to persuade the US forces from making a push on Moscow this turn, we're actually going to bring our 3 transports over and drop a bunch of infantry here in France. We'll also be bringing along our battleship and our cruiser to assist in some amphibious assault. Now, it might be a numbers game we end up losing, but you know what? I'm actually going to bring in these 2 artillery, so I'll make that adjustment, and we'll see you on the other side in just a moment for the actual combat. Alright, so I did make a couple of extra adjustments. I think that it's still beneficial to run an air raid on the industrial complex in Berlin, so let's hope that we don't have any casualties out of here. And we've got 3, and that's not anything that you want to see at all. Still think that's incredibly stupid, given that they don't have any anti-aircraft guns, but it's whatever. That was not worth it to any degree. Now for France, we've made the adjustment of bringing in a couple of infantry into the land fight. Let's see if we can get some offshore bombardment. We've got a hit off of our cruiser, and hopefully we get a hit off of our battleship, which we do. Now from here we're going to get at least 1 hit, but we are going to pick up 2. So let's take that off of the 2 infantry here. Which nets us the overall win over in Paris. Now the final movement that I wanted to make is some naval combat up here. Mainly looking to take out these destroyers and these transports. So hopefully this goes better. We've got 1 hit here, and we are going to take a hit on our bombers. But I want to see if I can get 1 more hit on that destroyer, which we didn't. And no further casualties on that, which is good. So that's going to set back the UK a little bit. But we took some heavy casualties with a lot of our forces here. So for some reinforcement, we're going to move in our submarine, our destroyer, and our aircraft carrier to fortify the rest of the Navy here, especially because the US doesn't have any planes and the UK doesn't have any planes, and I'm decently outside of shot except for the British Navy here, but I can learn to deal with that. So let's fly this bomber back here this bomber back here, and then fly these fighters in to fortify Moscow. Let's also bring one of these infantry down here. And one of these infantry in here, and this tank in here. And let's call that good for our Nope, we're gonna move this fighter up here, and this tank in here. That will be it for our non-combat movement. And then for our placement, let's go ahead and dump a bunch of infantry here and here. Land our fighters out of there and call that good for this turn. Alrighty, so that diversion actually worked a little bit better than I'd hoped that it would, as they pulled a lot of their forces back over here. So we're going to do a couple of crazy things here. And first off, we're going to continue to fortify down Moscow. But I'm going to go 7 infantry and 3 infantry and allow us to produce 2 tanks out of these 2. And then let's go back and grab 3 more fighters and call that good for purchases. All right, so we're going to do something a little bit cheeky here. And I don't have the manpower to come over to Berlin and harass the industrial factory again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move some of my ships back over to the Baltic Sea. We're going to pick up some infantry from here and drop them into the neighboring province. Now, I know... Actually, I'm going to back out of some of that. I'm going to drop 4 of them here and 2 of them here to increase our IPC gain. But the reason I'm wanting to drop them off is so I can get some amphibious assault from our cruiser and our battleship. So that's going to be a nice little additional first round of damage that we can get there. We're going to bring in a few troops here to West Russia and then pour a bunch of troops up here into Archangel to recapture this point and hopefully put a dent in the US forces. If this push fails, this might be the start of the end of the game for us. So let me make those final adjustments and we'll meet you in the combat. Alright, so let's get into the combat here in Ukraine. This should hopefully be pretty one-sided. So let's get some damage rolls in here. Nice hit from our cruiser. Hopefully we get a hit from our battleship, which we do. Now it's just a matter of how many hits are we going to get out of here. Looks like we've got at least... Oh, there's 2. So that's better than nothing. And our bombers are going to net us 2 more hits. So that's not quite all of their ground troops, but it's a solid chunk. We've only got 2 here, so let's accept those hits. And the tank is not going to land anything. So let's press on. 1 more hit from our infantry, 2 more hits from our bombers. Again, not quite what we were looking for, but it's better than nothing. That's 1 hit. And another hit from the tank here. Now all we need is 2 more hits. Hopefully I can get 1 or 2 of them here, which is not going to be the case. But my bombers are not going to net me anything either. No returned hits on either side of the combat that time around. Still nothing from the infantry. Come on, bombers. Get 1. That's good. No returning fire from the bomber. No returning fire from the tank. Just need 1 more. And that's going to be it right there. So that nets us the victory here in Ukraine. No further casualties in that fight, which is always good to see. So the combat here in West Russia, we've got a little more air superiority. So hopefully we can get the hits that we need from this crew on the first go-around. And we do. So that gets us the overall victory. And we're going to take at least one casualty, and it's only going to be one casualty. So that is good as well. Nice round of combat here in West Russia. So this is where the combat gets a little hairier. Now we're about even manpower-wise, but they definitely have the defensive advantage. We've got 2 hits coming from our infantry, and 2 hits coming from our tank and our fighter. Hopefully the casualties aren't too drastic. And we've only got 2 hits coming in, but this is where the heavy hits could really come full swing. Only 1. So I feel safe pressing another round of attacks. And maybe that's my downfall. Absolutely no hits from the infantry. 3 hits from the tanks and the fighters. Only 3 hits here, but this is where I could have my undoing. 3 more hits. That's going to be enough to force a retreat. Yeah, we needed to cut our losses there before they got too drastic. So let's fly all fighters back to Moscow, bombers back down here. Let's move these guys back to the Baltics on a non-combat. And that should be it, because there's not really anything else I can move here. Alright, so let's go ahead and mobilize one guy here, one guy here. The rest are the infantry and the fighters down here. So remember when I said that this could be the beginning of the end of the game for us? Well, yeah, without taking out the groups of troops here, we've had a mass spread of tanks throughout the east here, and that's not great. Not great at all. But we'll go ahead and double down with some more forces here. So let's go ahead and grab 6, 7, 10 infantry between these 2 locations. I need to put out some tanks over here. So we're going to unload some tanks there. We're also going to get 2 additional tanks to fill our last 2 slots here. And the last of our units is going to go over to some more fighters. Alright, so there's a mess of arrows around here. We're blitzing a couple of tanks across areas that we can try to recoup, flying some fighters in to help where possible, and making another push here against West Russia to kick the UK forces out of here. I'd like to do something here, I just don't have the manpower to do it at this point in time. So let's move into our combat phase. Haven't been over here to Xinjiang in a minute, but hopefully we should be able to destroy the tank here to prevent it from advancing, which we do. No returning fire, which is great. Moving over to Novosibirsk. We've got a similar fight to the last one. Hopefully we get our hit first round, which we do. And no return fire here, which is nice if we can repeat that story as many times as possible. Over to Evenki Nacional Okurg. We've got a little more firepower, but we've also got a little more resistance. That's all the hits that we needed to take them out, and again, no returning fire from the US, which is excellent. Here's where things get a little bit hairier in Vologda. But we should be able to get our hits here. No hits from our infantry, which is unfortunate. If we can just net both hits here, we get 1, so it's going to take us to a second round of combat. No hits from their infantry. 1 hit from their tank, so we'll take that on our infantry there. Press forward, because I can win this numbers game. And still nothing from our infantry. Net me 1 more hit here, please. Thank you. And 1 more hit, which we'll, again, take to the infantry. A little bit more of a costly fight there, but I think it was worth it. Finally, our conflict in West Russia to take some land back from the Brits. And there's not a whole lot I can do here except pray that I get 2 ones. I got at least 1, which is better than nothing. No returning fire there. We're going to get 1 from the tank. Hopefully we get 1 more hit, and we do. We actually get a couple. We only needed the 1, though. So a little bit of a costly fight there, but in the end, we netted a positive, all things considered. So we're going to fly our planes back to where they came from, reinforce a couple units here, send a few units up here, and that's going to do it for our non-combat movement. And to mobilize our troops, we're going to place 3 tanks over here, the other 2 tanks here and here, remaining infantry there, and a fighter here. Could have moved these guys, but I didn't, so they'll just have to hang out till next round and next video, because this is where we're going to call things off. So again, if you're enjoying the series, don't forget to leave a like and comment to let me know what you're thinking. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, as the subscription is free and easy. Thanks again for watching. You have yourself a fantastic rest of your day.